In this video, we'll be going over the bottom-up approach of word break. Let's go over the thought process. So in the memorization approach, we have cache, the starting index I, with can break, which is a Boolean value. So this means we can create an array can break to keep track if we can break at each of the starting index I. If we can break the input string at each of the starting index I. So one thing we have to know is what is the default values inside the can break array. When I is out of bound, this means we have successfully broken up the word. This means can break I will be equal to true. Now let's go over the pseudocode. So we're still going to create our custom class try node, which will allow us to create a try. This will allow us to quickly check if a word is inside our word dictionary. Now we're going to create our Boolean array can break to keep track if we can break up the string for each of the starting index I. Now we want to iterate through the indices from s.length to 0, which is going to denote it as I. And then if I is out of bound, or if I is equal to s.length, this means we have successfully broken out the word. We can just set can break I to true, and then we can continue to next iteration. And then each of the loop, we're going to create a try node node to keep track of our current location inside the try. So initially it will be equal to the roots that we have created before. This is our try, the roots of our try. Then we're going to iterate through the indices from I to the end of the input string, s.length -1, denoted as j. And then we're going to retrieve the current character index j, which we'll call C. And then if C is not inside node.children, this means we have failed to find a word that is inside a word dictionary, so we can just set can break to false. Then we can continue to the next iteration. This means we have failed to break up the word at the current index. Or we can just break from the loop, and then we can just set can break later. So let's just break out the loop. So break out of the loop. Actually, we don't even need to set it to false because the default value inside a Boolean array is already false. So we can just remove this. So we can just break off the loop. And then we're going to set node to node.children.getC. We are moving down our try, or moving down a prefix of our current word. Then if node.isWord is true, this means we have found a word. And if can break at j+1 is true, this means we have successfully broken out the word from this starting index. So we can set can break I to true, and then we can break from the loop. Then we will return can break at starting from the starting index 0. This means we have successfully broken up the word starting from index 0. Now let's go over the time and space complexity. So for the time complexity, we're still going to create our try, so it's w times k, and then our nested for loop, which is n squared. So where wk are the number of words and characters associated with each word inside the word dictionary, and n is the length of the input string. So we have creating our try, and then all of n squared is our nested for loop. And our space complexity is our current try and also our can break array the parameters are the same. So OW times K is our try, and then O of N is our can't break array. Now let's go over the code. So we're going to create our Boolean array, can't break, new Boolean with the same length as the input string, and I'm going to iterate through the starting indices from s.length to 0, denoted as I. Then the current index is out of bound. This means we have successfully broken up the string, so we can just set can't break I to true. Then we can continue to next iteration. Then we're going to create a try node to keep track of a current location inside the try, and then we're going to iterate through the indices from I to the end of the input string, denoted as J. We're going to retrieve the current character at index J. If node.children does not contain the current character, this means we have failed to find a word, so we can just break from the loop. If we have failed to find the if we have found the current character, we'll just move down the try. And if node.isWord is true, this means we have found a word, and we can also break up the input string from j plus 1. This means we have successfully broken up the strings from the current starting index, so we can set the current index can't break I to true. Then we can just break from the loop. Then we will return the value if we can break the input string starting from the index 0. Let me know if any questions in the comment section below.